Never do this after getting the girl's number. So imagine this. You just talked to the girl. It was a good conversation. She seemed into it. You got her number. You're all happy. And you're going home thinking you got a date. And now here's what's about to kill it. There are 5 things that guys usually do in the next 24 to 48 hours that absolutely kill their chances of getting the girls out. And after watching of literally hundreds of guys mess this up and lose women that they had good conversations with and that they could have actually gone out on a date with, they do these 5 things and that absolutely destroys their chances of getting them out, and then they lose a great date that could have happened. So in this video, I'll tell you exactly what not to do after you get the girl's number so that you can actually get her out on a date. And number 5 is going to be the biggest thing that most people don't talk about. So let's start with the basics. Number 1 mistake is just being too boring. Let me give you an example. Let's say that the girl tells you that she had a tough day. What would you say? A lot of guys would be saying something like, "Oh, really? You had a tough day? Oh, me too. It's a really tough week for me. There's a lot of work. My boss is getting on my nerves." Essentially agreeing and not doing anything interesting in a conversation. And that's not what you want to be doing, my friend. Instead, you want to spice it up and tease it up. So what can you say instead? You could just say, "Oh, well, did you get fired?" So this is one of the flirting techniques. You just misunderstand her and just take it a completely different direction, and then she'll just reply, no, I mean, that's not what I meant." It's a bit more interesting. It's something unexpected. So don't be predictable and don't be boring. You can't be boring. You gotta spice it up. And for love's sake, like, you also gotta tease. You gotta be playful. You can't just do logical, linear conversation. Same thing as in real life, same thing in texting. And this is why to become a great texter, the best way to become a great texter is actually to become really good at flirting in real life, because then you can just text the way you speak. And if you want to become really good at flirting in real life, there's a free flirting guide for logical men you can download below. So go check it out after this video and become great at real life flirting. Number 2 is don't do dating over text. So what do I mean by dating over text? I see so many guys sending literal essays, like paragraphs like this, trying to tell the girl about their life, about their philosophy of life. Guys, you're not trying to date her over text. You're trying to get her out. That is the entire goal. So when you send these massive essays, first of all, it kills mystery. It kills mystery. You cannot reveal everything about yourself. And that's also not the best place to do it. Even if you do it on a date, you don't want to reveal all this stuff right away. And second of all, and what's even worse, is that it shows massive neediness. A guy with a lot of options and a guy that's really respects his time would never send essays like this. So stop sending massive blocks of essays. Remember the goal. The goal is to get her out. That's the entire goal of the text. You got to get her out. So keep that at the back of the mind when you're texting. All I'm trying to do is get her out. Now, of course, there are different sub goals, right? So one of your sub goals to get her out is you want to show her bits about your life, because maybe she wants to know a little bit more before she meets you. So you might send a photo ping. You might send something like a photo from your day. If you're going hiking, just send a picture of that. So show her bits and pieces about your life. You can slightly tease and banter, right? Teasing and banter is a great way to also develop comfort, because who do you tease? Who do you banter with? Your friends, right? So don't make it super logical. And yes, with some women, you might need to develop a bit more comfort. And for me, a great way to do that is sending voice notes. If you want to send her something longer, just send a voice note. On WhatsApp, it's a great feature. Not only that, you can send more things and it just looks like one voice note, but also you can utilize your voice. If you just send a text, all she can see is your words. If you really want to tell her something, convey her something, convey some emotions, well, you can utilize your voice. It's an amazing way to convey information and develop comfort over text. But the main work already has to be done before. In the initial conversation, you should have already agreed on a date and she should have been enthusiastic about the idea. Don't try to overcompensate in text if you did bad initial conversation. Let's go to the next mistake. So number 3 is taking too long to ask her out. So there are literally guys that text for days, even weeks, and they don't ask the girl out. Come on, man. You gotta ask her out. The longer you wait, the lesser your chances. Your highest chance of getting her out is in the first initial days. The longer you wait, if 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the chances go down dramatically. So don't wait. You cannot wait. And for me, 50 to 60% of my dates, they literally come from 3 messages or less. Yes, it might be surprising for you, but it is only 2 to 3 messages because everything's already been done before. Everything's been done before in the conversation, so it's mostly just logistics, figuring out when do we want to meet and at what time. As I said, work is done already. This is not Tinder. On dating app, you've never met the person, you've never interacted with a person, so you obviously have to take a bit more time to get to know her. But on my channel, I teach real life approaches, so you should already talk to her, you should have flirted with her. She should know how you are, you should know how she is, and she should already agree on a date. You don't need to spend all this time trying to get to know her because you already got to know her initially in the conversation and you already agreed that you want to get to know her more in the second conversation over drinks. And don't be afraid of the negative. Don't be afraid of the potential rejection because a lot of guys, just like in real life, they keep making the same mistake of being too afraid that the girl might say no. Don't be afraid of that. Just ask for a date. If she tells you no, and if it's because of the logistics, maybe you'll figure it out. But she gave you a number for a reason. If she gave you the number, she wants to go out with you, man. Or at least she did want to go out with you. So if you haven't messed this up and if you don't make the previous mistakes, then just ask her out. Because if you don't ask her out, if she was excited about you, she'll start wondering, does this guy even like me? Doesn't he have balls to ask me out? Like, what's going on? So don't wait to ask her out. Then, number 4 is responding every 5 minutes. This is not a long distance relationship, guys. You don't have to respond every 5 minutes. And if you do this, if you respond every 5 minutes, there are going to be 2 things that you show. Number 1 is that you show that you're needy because there's no way in hell that a guy that has a lot of options, that is not overinvested into one particular girl, is going to send a message every 5 minutes to a girl. Like, you show her that you're needy, and that will drive her away. And number 2, and this is even more important, is that you show that you don't have a better time, you don't have better things to do with your time. Your time is not valuable. That's what you show by responding every 5 minutes. So take breaks. For me, I typically send 2 to 3 messages per day. That's it. 2 to 3 messages per day. As a matter of fact, I only open my WhatsApp to respond to all the texts that I have 2 or 3 times a day. As I said, most of my dates come from 2 to 3 messages. So in a day, I schedule a date, 1 to 2 days. Sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes it might take 4 to 6 messages, but that's okay. That's fine. And because of that, they respect my time. They know that this guy is not like sitting on his phone responding to all the messages. And more importantly, she can actually look forward to my text. She doesn't know when it's coming. So when it finally comes, it's like, oh, Gus texted me. If a girl ever gets mad at you responding too slowly, well, it might be a bit of a red flag. Why does she want you to text more, right? So don't worry about those edge cases. But most times, if you do 2 to 3 times a day, it's going to be totally fine. And also, guys, you got to minimize your screen time. I'm not your life coach, but Jesus Christ, you cannot be spending 4 to 5 hours on your phone every day. It's nuts. It's crazy. So minimize your freaking screen time. We're doing real life approaches. We're meeting women in real life. And the only time we're using a phone is to set up logistics to text her and to get her on a date. Now, the biggest thing that you cannot do, and the biggest mistake, and the number 5 thing that we're going to talk about, which I've kind of alluded in the previous points, getting the number for the sake of number. Let me elaborate. So a lot of guys, what they do is they give a girl a compliment and just ask her out. Hey, you look pretty. Can I get your contact details? Hey, you look so amazing. Can I get your Instagram? That's what a lot of guys do. And dude, number is irrelevant if she doesn't come out. Number is irrelevant. You got to remember the goal. You're not asking for a number just for the sake of number. You're asking because you agree on a date, and then that number is for you to figure out when exactly, like carve out a specific time. And please, don't copy the viral TikToks. A guy says the line and just asks, can I get your number? It's irrelevant. It gets a lot of views for the content creator, so I don't blame him for doing that. But if your goal is to actually date that woman, don't do this. It's super ineffective, and it's not going to get you a solid number that actually comes out on a date. If your goal is to do viral TikToks, yes, okay, do that. It looks great on a camera. You said some funny line and the girl gave you the number. But guys overemphasize the importance of the number. The goal of the number is literally just for you to logistically agree on when to come out. She should have already agreed to come out with you, right? So what you actually need in the conversation is you need 8 to 10 minutes of conversation, and you need to agree on a date in the conversation. This is super massive. This is so big, right? First of all, you need some time to actually talk to her, because if you talk to her for 1 minute, even if she's like smiling and gives you a number, it means nothing. 1 minute in most cases means nothing. So ideally 8 to 10 minutes, even more, because it takes time for you to flirt with her, for you to laugh, for you to learn a little bit about each other, for her to learn something about you, for her to get interested. Like, she needs to get warmed up. You're a stranger, right? So you need to take some time, and most guys' conversations are simply not long enough, and that's why a lot of girls don't respond. And also, you need to ask for a date in the conversation. So in the conversation, you don't say like, hey, can I get your number? No, you say, look, it's a good conversation. We should go out another time for a drink. And she needs to say yes. She has to say yes. If she says maybe, it's done. There's no point, right? She needs to say yes, and then you take her number, and then you're actually in her number, you're going to specifically say, okay, Friday or Saturday. But the work needs to be done before. This is massive. This is so massive. So don't procrastinate to do the work. A lot of guys, they're too afraid to do actual work, flirting and teasing and really generating that connection and attraction. They're too afraid, or they don't know how to do it. So they think, oh, I'd rather get the number and then do it over text. But that's not what you want to do. If you are too nervous to talk to her, you got to work on that. You cannot just cope with it by, oh, well, I'll just chat to her on text. That's not the way to solve your problem. If you're too nervous, solve that problem by becoming not nervous in initial conversation, and don't procrastinate on generating the attraction. The 90% of the work needs to be done in the initial conversation. So of course, all of this, like, you can still mess up a really good conversation by terrible texting. Like, if you make all these mistakes, you can still mess it up. But even great texting will not get magically a girl out if you had bad initial conversation. So focus on having great initial conversations, and of course, once you have that, you get a great number, you're going to have a great potential date, and then don't mess it up by doing all these other things. And as I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to learn how to have great conversations and how to flirt in a great way, you can download my free flirting guide below in the description.